This day in sports history. It's October 5th, and on this day throughout the sports space-time continuum, Barry Bonds became the single-season home run king. The Human Joystick put it in cheat code mode, and Eddie Robinson passed the Bear on the all-time wins list. All that and a little bit more, plus a non-sports fun fact about everybody's favorite planet, not a planet, Pluto. But let's start with what happened on this day in 1986, when somebody was giving somebody else the business. This was a Week 5 matchup in the NFL between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. They'd already played each other back in Week 1, a 28-24 win for New York in that one. Well, the Jets scored first in the second quarter in this one with a Ken O'Brien to Al Toon TD toss. With 1 minute, 8 seconds left in the first half, a normal hit on a quarterback turned into one of the most famous referee calls.
Buffalo first down from their 43-yard line. Kelly played that low snap and throws it away. He saw Bell was well covered, and Marty Lyons all over Jim Kelly. Now, Kelly may have said something to Lyons. Players from both sides heading onto the field.
Now, Marv Albert was spot on with his call of the play. As Lyons was laying on top of him, Kelly lobbed a few choice words at Marty, which he took umbrage with, and started delivering a few body shots. Kelly retaliated by putting his fingers through Lyons' face mask, and he scratched him, drawing some blood. A penalty flag was launched into the air, and when referee Ben Dreith keyed the mic to tell everybody what had happened, he gave us comedy gold.
There's a personal foul on number 99 of the defense. After he tackled the quarterback, he's giving them business down there at the 15-yard penalty.
Giving him the business, but...
Now, instead of number 99, Mark Gastineau, he meant to say 93, which was Marty Lyons' number, but nevertheless, this was a big penalty. It gave the Bills 15 yards and a new set of downs, and they scored 3 plays later to tie the game up heading into halftime. Now, this actually turned into a pretty good ball game. Scott Norwood booted 2 field goals in the second half to put Buffalo up by 6. The Bills clung to their 6-point lead into the 2-minute warning. Starting at their own 20-yard line, O'Brien moved the Jets down the field quickly, and with just over a minute to play in the game, got the go-ahead score.
Jets in a hurry-up offense with the clock running. Deep for Shooter, wide open, touchdown!
Decent game, good ending, but of course it could have been a lopsided blowout, and we would still recall this game as the old giving him the business game. On this day in 2001, Barry Bonds became the all-time single-season home run king. The San Francisco Giants had 3 games left in the regular season, all against the LA Dodgers. Bonds entered this game with 70 home runs for the season, equaling the record that Mark McGwire set just 3 years earlier. His 70th had come the night before, and with his pace of hitting a home run every 2 1/4 games, there was a good bet he would get number 71 before the series with the Dodgers was over. He answered that question pretty quickly, trailing 5-0 in the bottom of the first at 8:14 Pacific time. He connected.
There's a high drive, deep into right center field to the big part of the ballpark. Number 71, and what a shot! Over the 421-foot marker. The deepest part of any ballpark in the National League. And Barry Bonds is now the home run king, number 71, and it was impressive.
Bonds ripped a Chan-Ho Park pitch to the deepest part of Pac-Bell Park. It was a solo shot, so it didn't make much of a dent in the deficit, but nobody there really cared. Bonds was now the single-season home run record holder with 71, and as he trotted around the bases, chants of his name filled the stadium. After touching home plate and a bear hug from his son Nikolai, he went to the dugout to share a moment with his dad, Bobby. He came out for a curtain call that lasted more than 6 minutes. Now, give a little bit of credit to Los Angeles and Park for actually pitching to Bonds. With a 5-0 lead in the first inning and 2 outs when Bonds came to the plate, they could have pitched around him, let him have the base on balls, and pitched to Jeff Kent instead. In the Giants' previous series with Houston, Bonds had been walked 8 times and hit by a pitch in 14 plate appearances. But Dodgers manager Jim Tracy told his pitchers to challenge Bonds, saying the integrity of the game was more important than not having Bonds achieve baseball immortality at his team's expense. Bonds took advantage of the generosity, and when he came back up in the third with none on and no outs, he buried another park pitch in the center field seats for number 72. That made it 8-5 Dodgers. Now the Dodgers did spoil a little bit of Bonds' night, hanging on for the 11-10 win over San Francisco. Bonds would pick up home run number 73 in the final game of the year to set the current season home run record. On this day in 2003, Dante Hall, a.k.a. the Human Joystick, ran a punt back for a touchdown.
Dante Hall backing up to the 8-yard line. Dancing. Middlebrooks can't get him. Now he's back inside the 5, but finds a seam. He's gone. He's got the kicker to beat, and that's Knorr. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching something that has never happened before in the National Football League. 7 returns for a touchdown in 10 games.
Knowing that Hall was a speedy return man with the amazing ability to make people miss or grab at air, that's not so tough to believe, right? But what is amazing about this one is that it was the 4th consecutive game that Hall had returned either a kickoff or a punt for a touchdown. This was a key AFC West divisional game between the 4-0 Denver Broncos and the 4-0 Chiefs. In the fourth quarter, with the Broncos up by 6, Denver punted it away. Hall backpedaled to his 8, reeled it in, and then went into joystick mode, retreating back to his 3 and then weaving his way through the Broncos coverage team for a 92-yard touchdown return. That gave the Chiefs the 24-23 lead, which turned out to be the final score. Hall's 4 straight games with a kick return for touchdown set a new NFL record and still stands today. On this day in 1985, legendary Grambling head coach Eddie Robinson earned win number 324, passing legendary Alabama head coach Paul Bear Bryant as the all-time winningest college football coach. Grambling was playing at the Cotton Bowl against Prairie View A&M. Nearly 37,000 people watched the game live, and more than 500 journalists from around the country were there to cover it. The game was hardly ever in doubt, which made the fourth quarter one long celebration. This was Robinson's 45th season coaching the Tigers. When the horn sounded to end the game, Grambling had won 27-7, and Robinson was all alone at the top of the list. He was mobbed by his current players and lauded by the thousands of players he'd coached over the years. He would continue to coach for another 12 seasons and finish with a total of 408 wins. That record would stand until 2011, when Joe Paterno won his 409th. St. John's of Minnesota coach John Gilardi is the current record holder with 489 wins in 64 years of coaching. And just yesterday, I talked about how the Brooklyn Dodgers finally ended their frustration in 1955 by winning their first World Series. Well, what happened on this day in 1941 is a great example of the many ways that the winning team found a way to lose in the series. Just like the 55 series, in 41, it was the Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Yankees playing for the championship. It was Game 4 with the Yankees holding a 2-1 lead. With 2 outs in the top of the 9th and holding onto a 4-3 lead in the game, it looked like the Dodgers were going to even up the series. Hugh Casey was on the mound facing Tommy Heinrich. Casey delivered a sharply breaking curveball to the plate. Heinrich swung and missed for the 3rd strike, but Dodger catcher Mickey Owen also missed it. The passed ball rolled to the backstop, and Heinrich raced to first. Instead of the game being over and the series tied at 2 games apiece, the Yankees rallied for 4 runs in the top half and went on to win the game 7-4 and take a 3-1 lead in the series. The 33,000 at Ebbets Field collectively groaned, only in Brooklyn. The Yankees closed out the World Series the next day with a 3-1 win. And maybe this seems strange now with the number of women that cover sports as writers and broadcasters, but on this day in 1991, NFL Commissioner Paul Tagliabue handed down a $30,000 fine to Cincinnati head coach Sam Wyche for not allowing a female reporter into the Bengals locker room after a loss at Seattle on Monday Night Football. To be fair to Wyche, he was attempting to protect his players, saying he respected their privacy and wasn't bending on allowing a woman into a locker room with 50 naked men. He made a couple of suggestions to try to make things, let's say, separate but equal, such as bringing players to any female reporters outside the locker room or opening the locker room for 15 minutes post-game with all players fully clothed, and then everybody had to leave until all were showered. But none of those alternatives worked for the league office. Now, on the flip side of that, I will interject myself a little bit into this story. I worked as a sports reporter and videographer for a station in an NFL market. Several women reporters covered the team after practice and games, and they had full access to the locker room. There was never any inkling of unprofessional behavior by anybody. The women, just like us dudes, were there to do a job, be respectful, get the story, and then get out. After the fine, the Bengals opened up the locker room to everybody. And time now for today's That's Got Nothing to Do with Sports fun fact. If you were saddened by the demotion of Pluto from one of the 9 planets to dwarf planet status, well, it gets even sadder. From the time it was discovered in 1930 until its demotion in 2006, it never made a full circle of the sun. And it still hasn't. It takes Pluto 248 Earth years to make one rotation around the sun. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks for stopping by and giving this a listen. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow on This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.